Hello and welcome to the Smashcast. My name is Nico Mar, and today I have with me
Preacher Dude Rocks.
I'm Supernomics.
And I'm Mustard.
And today we have a very special guest, Dan Fornace, who is the main creator of Rivals of Aether, a new indie game that is styled very similarly to Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Like you said, I'm the creator of Rivals of Aether. I'm doing the design, art, programming, and then I also have a composer, Flashy Goodness, who's handling everything to do with audio, and then he's helping on web, and he's helping on UI design, so he'll be helping out on menus and getting that flow to work really well.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm very into, like branding and design and art, so I guess literally and honestly, on a superficial level at least, the game looks gorgeous, with the pixel art and everything, and hats off for your man's Flashy Goodness with the UI, because I'm very into that too, and I think it looks great. So just side note right there.
Yeah, good to hear.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of jotted up a couple of questions to ask you about the game,
Yeah, sounds good.
just in general. So I guess one of the first things that is kind of a pretty big thing is what kind of mechanics are going on in this game. Are you taking inspiration from previous Smash entries? Are you adding new things of your own to make this game its own thing?
Yeah. So I'll talk about some of the mechanics. So the main goal of my project is to kind of explore the Smash gameplay and create new movesets, create new experiences that Smash has really made popular. And there's a lot of other games that are similar to Smash in certain ways, but a lot of them I feel like get harped up on some of the differences. A lot of them do like coin mode is kind of their main style or something like that. So for me, I'm trying to base the main engine more on Smash and then start pushing differences in some of the characters you'll see, some of the movesets, some of the tricks that people have on their special attacks, things like that. So
Sweet.
yeah, I guess if we wanted to compare it to different games, I'm kind of pooling from the whole series. I was a competitive Brawl player for a couple years on the East Coast, so that was the game that I was most into playing competitively. But I've been watching a lot of Melee now too, so I've always been a fan of the series. I grew up playing the one on N64. If I had to place this game somewhere, it would actually be probably closest to Super Smash Bros. Melee. And then the next game it would be closest to is actually the fan game that I made in 2011 called Super Smash Land, which is like a Game Boy demake of Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bridge between those two games, getting up to the speed and the competitiveness and the options of Melee, right? While still having some of the simplicity that Super Smash Land had.
Yeah, very snazzy.
And previously when we were talking, just casually, you mentioned the fact that there is a new mechanic that has been added that's like a parry/dodge.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll go over that. So when developing the game, I'm handling all the art and the animation, and I have a pixel art style that's pretty clear. But doing animation is still a ton of the development time. So really early in, we decided that we were going to stay away from grabs, right? Which is actually a big decision if you're making a fighting game, because every fighting game has a balance triangle where grabs beat shields, shields beat attacks, and attacks beat grabs. So the moment where you pull one of those out, you have to start to figure out a way to keep the combat balance, so you always have counters, right? So instead of a shield button like Smash has, we actually have a dodge button. And the way that works is if you're in the air, you have an air dodge that's quite similar to Melee. It's a directional air dodge. And if you hit forward or back when you hit the dodge button, you do a roll. That is also quite similar to the Smash series. But if you're standing and you hit the dodge button, instead of a shield, you have a parry, which is a lot like a powered up spot dodge. And what a parry does is it gives you a short window where if your opponent hits you, you actually get invincibility after that attack. So that means that if someone came at you with a move like Meta Knight's Tornado and hit you with the first hit and you parried it, you'd actually be invincible through the tornado. So you would be able to punish Meta Knight out of his tornado, which is very nice. And then another cool benefit of the attack is your opponent actually gets extra lag when they finish. So let's say in my game, Zetterburn jumps in with a forward air and he smacks you in the face, and you parry it. When he hits the ground, as soon as his landing lag's over, he'll actually get extra lag, and then you can punish him during that as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So it seems like you're putting like a ton of focus into just like combat and stuff like that. So is the multiplayer, like just player versus player, really the main focus? Are you going to have any kind of single player modes that people will be able to go into as well?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Right now, as we're developing it, we are putting like 90%, 99% of the focus on the multiplayer and the characters as we're building it. But after making Super Smash Land, which was a game that I actually played in my college computer labs with my buddies over and over again to test, I released it, and I would say about 95% of the people played that single player, and that's just the reality. Even on consoles, a lot of people are going to play single player, so we're definitely going to be creating some single player experiences. I've been watching a lot of what other fighting games have been doing, what Smash 4 has been doing, because before Smash 4 was really showing off their stuff, customization was definitely like, oh man, if you could customize Smash, that would be amazing. So in my original design documents, of course, I was like, yeah, let's customize Smash. So now that one of the nice things is I'll get to see how that works in Smash 4, but one of the bad things is customizing Smash isn't going to be a new idea, right? It's not going to be something fresh. So our single player is going to be, I will say it's going to be different. One of the cool things that we have that isn't really available to a game like Smash or Sony's PlayStation All-Stars is that we'll be able to tell story with our game, because each of the characters is new and you haven't seen them before, so you're going to want to learn about them. So we're going to have a story mode that's something like you would see in Street Fighter or Killer Instinct, for example.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, since it seems like there's actually some like a lore that you guys are establishing with these characters, not only with what their looks imply, but with the title, So I definitely felt that there was going to be at least some sort of explanation or story to be told in single player. So that's cool. A relief for me.
Yep.
So is this going to be like story, like just a general story mode, or is it going to be more like an arcade mode where each character gets their own story?
Yeah, so we are leaning towards, or we're currently have designed that each character will have their own story, so you get to learn a bit about them, right? Like their background a little bit, and then also where they are right now in terms of the game. And then we're also going to have kind of an overarching story that goes through the story modes that you'll have to like play through each character to kind of see the story of the world, I guess, that we're trying to tell.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
So let's pass the questions over to somebody else now, shall we? As far as gameplay goes, in the competitive scene, or well, not in the competitive scene, more casually, there's items are a huge deal in Smash. So will Rivals of Aether be having items of any kind implemented into it?
So right now, the way I've designed it, like I said, like Smash, then there's some simplicity. I am not going to have random items. At least I am not planning on doing any like traditional items you would see in Smash, like boxes and capsules and things you pick up. I'm not opposed to doing an item-based character, something like Peach or Link, or characters that can spawn items. One of the tricks that I did to do that in Super Smash Land was I gave Link an item, right? And then it wasn't, the bombs actually could never be picked up by anyone else, right? So that's like one way you can you don't have to code a full item system for every character. You could have like a specific character have item gameplay. But yeah, I am leaning more towards having that be unique to a character rather than having items across the board.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
All right. In Smash, with the items, you could get the Smash Balls, which would give you a super. Is there going to be any kind of super, mechanic implemented into Rivals of Aether?
So that's something I've been asked online as well, and that's definitely to me more interesting than traditional items, something like a powered up move. So that's something I would be willing to explore, especially since a lot of the fun of Smash is doing free-for-alls and team battles and just messing around with your friends. So that's a great feature where you could turn it on when you want it and turn it off when you don't. So that's, yeah, I would say I haven't ruled it out, but there's no like official, nothing official there.
It's pretty sweet.
You just mentioned team battles. Will that be implemented in Rivals?
Yes, so that one I can say. So, well, you'll have 2v2, obviously. I mean, we'll have a UI set up so you can do 3v1, just change your color. And then we're also playing around with different ways of how you could show that. Since we are sprite-based, an outline does kind of make sense, which I had been playing with, and I thought it was funny when Smash 4, I believe they announced that they'll be doing outlines for team battles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's good. Huh. But it does actually make sense, especially if your characters get to be pretty small on the screen. Having an outline around them for team battles is actually really nice. So we'll play around with the visual for what it is, but yeah, we'll definitely have team battles. So. And team attack, you can turn that on and off as well. So.
All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, Muster, I know you had a couple questions to ask about Rivals. You want to shoot at them now?
Oh yeah, sure. Except Soup kind of asked them all, so I'm gonna ad-lib some.
Nice.
Okay, so something else that Smash has explored, but is kind of banned competitively, is stages with hazardous elements to them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you will be seeing any of these in the future?
Yeah, so stage design is something I've just been thinking about recently too. So I think the more interesting stages you can make, the better. Like, I love some of the brawl stages that are crazy, especially if you're playing casually or you're playing free-for-all or 2v2. In Smashland, what I had actually done, which is a good chance I'll continue, is turning off stage hazards, right? So you could go in and in the settings, you could just hit an on-off switch. And what that did is, in Super Smashland, we had like a Saffron City stage, right? That would prevent the Pokemon from coming out the door. So you could just play like a bare bones version of that stage if you wanted to. So that's something that I'd be willing to explore if I do like crazy hazards. I also just want to try to push like what is competitive, right? I really love like some of the simple stages in Brawl, like Smashville I think is a great stage, but I think you can do some cool things with platforms and still be a competitive stage. So right now the first two stages shown are pretty static, and like the tree stage that you see in the trailer is basically like Battlefield. It's very basic, but I definitely want to explore more like creative stages, things moving, maybe not things attacking you so very much, but definitely more creative stages.
Cool.
All right.
Is that it for your questions, Mustard?
Well, one more thing. Actually, never mind. I'm done.
Okay.
Thanks for the cliffhanger. But actually, I had a couple of questions of my own.
Okay.
When it came to the characters in this game, I mean, I think it's clear that I'm a big fan of how they're designed. But when it comes to like the move sets, and how they play, do you specifically maybe try to like emulate the play styles of several characters in Smash, or do you really just play around with what you think the element should be represented as, or what's your way of creating that kind of character?
No, so that's a good question. So one of the cool things with this project, as opposed to if you were actually making Smash, where you're getting characters and creating movesets that make sense for them, I'm actually designing the character's moveset first, in a sense, and then having the character fit that idea, right? So Zetterburn, for example, when my main inspiration for him was I wanted to do a burning mechanic, right? And I was actually inspired by Bran from League of Legends, who has a mechanic where he can set you ablaze, and then all his spells have a secondary action if your target is on fire, right? So with Zetterburn, what I decided to do was all of his special moves set your opponent on fire, which causes them damage over time for about 2 seconds right now. I believe we have it at. We've been playing with that timing, but it's about 2 seconds right now. So as your opponent's on fire, they'll take the damage, and then if you hit them again, you just reset that timer, right? So it's not like it stacks. It just they'll burn for another 2. Then one of the cool parts of his moveset is that if he lands a strong attack, which is basically a smash attack in the Smash series, if he lands that on a burnt opponent, then he'll consume the burn, and that will do extra knockback and extra damage. So that's really how he's going to want to kill, especially once you get up around 90, 100%. Like, you can kill with the consumed strong attacks, as opposed to if they're not burnt, you're going to have to get them up around 150, maybe even 200 to get a kill.
Right, okay. So if we were, I guess, to theoretically say, because I'm sure this is not something you can speak of, but if we were to theoretically say that you're thinking about other characters, you would think of mechanics first instead of like just exploring the elements per se?
Well, yeah, so I guess I can go back to Zetterburn, for example, because once I knew that I wanted that burn mechanic, I wanted something that made sense for what would look good for consuming it, right? And I thought that a claw-based character would fit really well there, because you could basically grab the burn out of the guy, right? And you could see the claw attacks. So once I decided that he was going to be fire and I was going to use claws as his main form of attacking, I definitely started looking for inspiration. And the character that I'm sure any Smash fan who watched the trailer would see is Wolf from Brawl.
Right.
Zetterburn, right? And that fit well because Wolf is a claw-based character. One of the other reasons I actually looked to Wolf too was because I'm kind of creating a new game in the Smash series. I did want a character that people could find familiar, who are Smash fans, to kind of bridge into the game. So you could think of it like how a lot of fighting games have like a Shoto style character.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting games have Ryu, even if he's a little different. Even Killer Instinct, which is a game I worked on in the past, we had Jago, who has shares some inputs. And while some people might not like that for originality, it is actually really nice because it kind of helps you jump from game to game. Because if you play a lot of Street Fighter, you could pick up Jago in Killer Instinct and you could get a head start, right? So
right, I see.
In Rivals of Aether, Zetterburn actually kind of becomes our Ryu, where he's very close to like a space animal in Smash, and I actually tried to get a lot of things to feel like a space animal, like his jumps and his weight, just so as a player coming from Smash, you could grab him, and it would feel familiar. And then as you start exploring the rest of the roster, you would see that there's a lot of like characters that are very different. And the second character that we showed in the trailer, Orkane, is an example of that, where he might have some inspirations. You might see like some Ivysaur in there, but his moveset, how he feels, how he plays, is like, I think it's way different than like any character you would see in Smash.
So, inspirations aside, how is it that you would go about balancing the roster, from character to character, or just as a whole?
Yeah, so that's a great question too. So one of the difficult things with doing such crazy different movesets is balance. For example, Orkane does not have a traditional recovery that you would see in Smash. Instead, he actually has teleport. And the way the teleport works is you can actually teleport to a puddle on the stage, wherever it is on the stage.
Right.
And Orkane puts it down with his neutral special. When he shoots a water shot, it splashes and makes a puddle. Then if you recover in the air using your up special, then you actually consume the puddle. So now it's gone and you just got back on stage. So what that means is that, yeah, you could have been wherever you wanted. You could have been at the very bottom and got back. But now if you get hit before you can put a puddle on the ground again, it's going to be a lot harder for you to recover.
Oh, okay. So, well, finishing off that question, just going into the nuances of that. Let's say if I'm getting hit and I want to, let's say, return to my puddle, is there any like sort of like lag or like punishment so that it takes me longer to like go back to my puddle? Let's say like if I'm at a really high percentage or I got hit really badly, would that affect my return?
So no, so one of the cool things is the recovery is actually like a set time. but it does the attack that when you basically come out of your puddle and do an attack. And you can see it in the trailer. I actually use it to like kill and finish combos as like an ender, right? But it has a lot of lag, and it actually takes a while too, right? So if you're far off and you pretty much have to up special to get back, your opponent can just walk over to your puddle and then just punish you. Just wait and punish, right? Whereas if you do it quickly, then he might not have time to punish, right?
So,
go ahead, Nico.
okay. Well, by the way, since you were just mentioning recovery, like, have you put any kind of interesting touches on ledge mechanics?
That is a great question. So I played competitive Brawl for two years, and I was around at the time. I was in tournaments actually at the time when planking became a deal, like a big deal. And I don't know if you remember, like on Smashboards, there was so many threads. It was named after a player from the East Coast who basically used it to get. I don't even know. He might even won a tournament with it. I'm not sure, but basically grabbing the ledge over and over again and abusing the invincibility, right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually really happy to see what Smash 4 is doing with their ledge mechanics. Like, I think they're solving it a ton. So I've actually gone in kind of a completely different direction, which is what Super Smash Land had, and I don't have edges or ledges in the game right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, which is like, a lot of people hear that and they go, wait, what? And it's actually kind of playing interesting. Ledges aren't something that like I'm afraid to program or like I don't want to, like I can't do for whatever reason. They're more something where it is a big gameplay change once you get them in. Depending on how they're balanced, people could fight an entire game off stage. And I don't think you want a game where like your most skilled players are fighting entirely off stage. I think Melee has a great balance of neutral game versus edge guarding. I really enjoy watching that. So right now the recoveries are actually pretty strong, but they don't have, you can't grab a ledge. So there is a couple mechanics in place to help that, right? One of the nice ones is if you're playing Zetterburn and you use his recovery, which is a lot like a Firefox move, right? You get to choose your direction. If you ride up a wall with it, then you actually increase your distance, which helps a ton if you're recovering close to the stage, right? Like let's say you got spiked or meteor smashed or whatever. And then the other mechanic is I also start putting that on other specials. Orcane, for example, has a side B or a side special that's a lot like a Falco dash, and he'll actually ride up the wall just a little bit, so you can kind of get back on stage even if your feet might have clipped it, right? Yeah, so that's where I'm at with ledges. It's definitely something where as the game develops, I want to get it in the hands of smashers and start to see how it plays. But I'm leaning towards trying to balance it without ledges and see how the recoveries, how strong they are. Because it could go two ways, right? You could make it so all the recoveries are so good that you're always back on stage, or basically everyone could just never knock someone off and that's a kill. So
that is a very interesting way to take it.
Very compelling, yeah.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see.
Neat. Exactly how players utilize it.
Yep, and then as I start adding more characters, because right now I have like the designs for characters, but a lot of them are in a place where I described Zetterburn before, where his specials burn and his strong attacks consume. A lot of characters are in that place, so once I start making new recoveries and testing those, then I might be like, oh man, this is so broken.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean, yeah.
Yep.
So didn't somebody else have a question? I thought I heard.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Mustard.
concerning Orcane, I was watching some of the gameplay from before, and I saw what I thought was him shooting his little puddle thing onto the stage before recovering. Like does shooting a puddle when there's already one on the stage like override the puddle that was there before?
Yep. Yeah. So as soon as a puddle hits the ground, then it basically overrides your previous puddle, right? So that one will like evaporate, and then you'll get a puddle in the new position.
All right.
Which
I
even
just-
that can be used for like some strategies right now for like trying to get some double puddle stuff. You can never have 2 out at a time, but you can play with that.
That's cool. I actually had another question about the elements. You see, I was wondering if you would have, like, let's say in the future, if you plan to have in the future maybe multiple fire elemental characters, or maybe going deeper into the fire, I guess, tree with maybe like lava or smoke or something of that nature. No pun intended.
Yeah, so right now we're shooting to do 4 of like the classic elements because the kind of the factions in the game are a lot like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is like kind of one of the inspirations for like the story at least. And so that's air, earth, fire, water. So we're gonna fill out those 4 with like what you would consider your standard character. Like I would consider Zetterburn to be like the standard fire dude. But then after that, then yeah, where you're thinking is right, because I definitely want to start looking at variations. So rather than doing like another fire guy that he might burn you and do something else, I want to
Fire Tiger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then he can be like Ryu and Ken, right?
Yeah.
But rather than doing that, I want to start playing with like fire versus like you said, lava or smoke or some other like twist on the element itself.
Cool.
Boiling water.
Oh yeah. Yeah, mix the elements. Boiling water.
No mixing.
Well, what if we had a kid born from the 2 clans? He had to be kept in secret. The new idea.
He's the chosen one.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he knows all 4 somehow, and he's got an arrow on his head.
Oh yeah.
Frozen ice with his gigantic monkey, dragon, whatever that thing is.
Yeah. This all sounds pretty original. I like it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's our own IP, so.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we have some pretty cool questions. I don't know does anybody have any last questions before we close up?
Well, I also kind of wanted to talk about like 2 things. The first thing was I saw that you had an update concerning like differentiating the characters. And I would just like to say that's a very good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you looking to do more of that potentially to just make the game very user friendly?
Yeah. So readability is like a huge like factor I think about when I think of design in pretty much any game. Like in the past, I used to do a lot of design consulting, and I would always make sure that basically players can see what's happening. The fire in Zetterburn is the update that we announced, and that's one of the ones where I because he was the fire element, right? I really was trying to just keep the fire consistent, right? So if you chose the red skin, you still have the yellow-orange fire. If you chose the blue skin, you still have the yellow-orange fire. And that was to really sell that he's the fire element. But it just doesn't work, especially when you have a 4-player Zetterburn match, which we showed off in the trailer. It's like right at the end of Zetterburn, if you watch it, it's actually like a pretty funny clip because they all have like fire on the ground and they're all like shooting fire. And my favorite part of the clip actually is if you watch on the right of the match, I was actually playing, I think it's like red Zetterburn. I'm playing one of them on the right. He's like actually like doing work, like every single hit is like landing, which I think is funny. But anyway, sidetrack. So the update we announced was that we are changing, basically changing all the colors of the fire to match the skin that you chose. So now if you choose the blue Zetterburn color choice, then you get like a blue flame. And if you choose the red, your flame is more red than orange, right? And if you choose, we also have green and we also have black and white. And the black and white's my favorite right now because you get like a grayscale flame. And
so sexy.
Yeah, that affects all your attacks, which is cool. So Zetterburn actually has a move. His down special, he actually leaves fire on the ground, and it won't hurt your enemy. But if they walk through it or if they run through it, then they'll be lit on fire. So they'll basically start taking the damage over time, and you can do a smash attack to them. So that's cool. One of the updates that we heard from online of people. Like a couple of people watched the trailer and was like, "That looks like bad." So that kind of stuff, especially as we start to, I want to get the game into the hands of some playtesters, and I actually do want to start targeting streamers too. It's like some of the Smash players. I actually, while I'm working late at night, I'll watch streams of Smash a lot of times. So I'd love to get the hands in these guys and start getting some feedback and making changes based on what players are thinking.
Cool.
If you ever need some playtesters, there's 8 of us here at the Smash Fest.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys play regularly, I can definitely get you guys a build, and we're still. So I have people ask about this too, which is actually really good that it came up about playtesting. So we've been accepting applications over at our Smashboards forum.
Oh, okay.
So there's like an email there where you can apply. And
I tried that.
Yeah, nice. I've gotten a couple pings about like, hey, have you accepted anyone? So we did like a very early initial test with just Zetterburn. I think I had like 10 players. One of the reasons that we've held up getting more players in right now is that we want to do our new menus. Right now the menus are gray and they have just like squares, and it's very generic, right? It works, like you can select your characters and you have a result screen that works, but we want to have a menu that kind of like represents the game, and that way when I send out the playtester build, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna let players like stream it if they want to like put it on Twitch or maybe even YouTube. So that's why we've held up getting playtesters. But as soon as we have the menu in a good place, then I'm gonna send out a lot of emails with how you can get the build and what you need to play it.
Yeah, you just want it to look pretty for everyone.
Yeah, well, I don't want, like even a game in development, like even if you tell someone 100 times that a game's in development and then they like
still be like, menus. Oh well, I don't know, it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, those menus they look gray and dumb.
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 out of 10, no legends.
That's I can see that comment coming up online.
Oh my god, I could see that coming in.
Same. Well, I actually wanted to flip it on you real quick. Is there a question that you would like to ask us or any of the viewers or listeners?
Yeah, I guess I could relate it kind of to the project. I would say the one question that I'm still not sure if I even know the answer is, with Smash 4 on the horizon, did you see yourself playing like an indie Smash game in 2015, or do you think like everyone will pretty much be, Smash 4 heads down for like all of 2015?
Very good question.
I mean, I'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, it's not like I won't play it.
Right.
Like even with a big game like Smash 4 coming out, I'm pretty sure everyone can still very much appreciate an indie developed title.
Yeah.
So I don't think people are just gonna brush it off like, no, let's play Smash 4 instead. I think they're gonna.
And it's always nice to get another game in the platform fighter genre because there's not very many good ones out there.
Yeah, Sony tried it. I don't know what happened, but
yeah. So the genre is actually one thing that I've been interested in for a while now. I've actually been using GameMaker for years, and I did Smash clones even before making Super Smash Land. But one thing I noticed is that the genre's it kind of exists in indie games with like Towerfall and Samurai Gun, if you guys have played that. Yeah. But I've noticed those are more like way more platformer than fighter, right? Like there isn't as much. You don't have to like master the character. Once you kind of get the basics down, it's all like who's better right now. Whereas in Smash, it's like there's a lot of learning the characters, learning the nuances, and I think that it's not that there's more depth, but there's definitely like more of a feeling of getting attached to like the different characters rather than just like a free-for-all fun like afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Mustard, you had a question, right?
Well, I'm going to apologize for this question right now. This is a question I had when I first heard about the game. Will there be any characters that by chance throw up their weapon, spin around, and come straight back down for the recovery?
That's a great question. So that's the funniest thing about that is I hadn't even thought about that at all when I announced it. Because the name Aether is actually like the name of this planet that the creatures live on.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a part of the story. But I noticed as soon as announced, people are like, "Is this a game where it's only Ike?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I don't know. I feel like I gotta make some. I'll make some kind of nod. I mean, you'll see in like a lot of good indie games, like Skullgirls will make nods to Marvel, right? Because they were able to create like such a combo game. So maybe I don't know, something about fighting for your friends, or maybe I'll do a small nod.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone wondering out there, this is not an Ike fighting game, as you can see and probably tell. Don't worry about it.
Sweet. So, is there any other questions?
Yeah, I just had one more, and it was kind of concerning, the whole like beta testing. Are you planning on doing a public beta eventually, so that everyone can get their hands before like the official release?
Yeah, so the release is something that will be interesting, especially as like the different platforms all have like early access and things like that. A fighting game fits super well for like, you could release it with, you know, like 5 or 6 characters and then go up to 8 or 9 or 10, right? Over time, which like that would be a great position to be in if the game's successful enough where I felt comfortable releasing it and still adding. That honestly depends a lot on a platform and where we go. Right now, I'm developing the game on a PC, and I'm actually working on like officially what platforms it will be on when it comes out. So we're looking at consoles, like some of the new consoles as well, but we don't have like an announcement on that yet. That depends a lot on what the game can actually run on.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, you are right to think, especially with a fighting game, to think like, yeah, early access or early beta totally makes sense. Get players in, get fans in, and actually get their feedback too. So,
Part, yeah.
Yeah, depending on the platform, that's definitely something we'll be interested in. But right now, I don't have like anything official on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Soup, you want to play us out?
All right.
Oh, hey.
Thank you.
No. Hey, really fast. I think I don't think we mentioned this in the video, but the Smashcast does have an official character request.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, let me get my notepad out real quick. All right.
Okay,
All right.
David, kick us off. I think you're the best at explaining this.
Okay, so I did mention Plasmove, but so I was thinking about if you had, you know, like an electrical rooster. If you had an electrical rooster, you could call it Shotcock, you know. And
Wait, what was
cool.
the second one?
Say what? What'd you say?
What was the name of that's the rooster?
Shotcock. It's a chicken. It's a chicken.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you know, I can feel that he would be a great character already, but you know, that's totally up to you.
So yeah, the plasma cow is still on the table.
Yeah.
I feel like
was a
Plasmove could still be electric because, you know, Plasma's pretty close. I don't actually know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know a lot about Plasma, but
Yeah.
Same here. But all right, yeah. All jokes aside, thank you for being with us, dude. It's been a pleasure.
We definitely appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Thank you all for watching, and please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter @SmashCastTweets, and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TheSmashCast. Goodbye.
Also, don't forget to check out Rivals of Aether. We will link the official website in the description.
Yeah, that's it.
Also, Dan's Twitter page.
Also, that vibrating totally wasn't me.
Yeah. Okay.
That might actually have been me. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Dan.
Okay, goodbye.